Onegaishimasu. Welcome back to the Goju Karate Center. We realize that there is a lot of demand from our followers to do a little bit more basics and a little bit more elementary karate that will help people in their training at home and help them develop their kehon or their fundamentals, their foundation. We're going to do some very, very simple stuff that would be essentially from, let's say, the first 4 kata of Goju Ryu. So, and I'm talking movement kata, not kehon kata like Sanchin or Tensho. So we're doing from Geksare H, Geksare Ni, Saifa, and then Seiyunchin. And some movements that are a little bit different and how they change. Please understand, if we're doing something and we're saying you need to repeat it for the sake of muscle development and movement development, it's one thing, and that it might not be totally in line with self-defense on another platform where maybe you're working towards something that is a little bit more functional in terms of actually defending yourself on the street. We need to separate those things out. And there is a development and there is an evolution from your foundation work to self-defense work. And in the same breath, if I go from that same point of here's my foundation, and it has a positive effect into my kata and into my bunkai and into my personal growth in the artistry of karate, then that is another line or another channel. So variations which are important for us to learn are on a Jodan level, open hand block, and you'll see part of this in Seiyunchin. Some schools might encourage on the inside and back, so on the inside and back, but by and large, if you're thinking of face block, outside. Next Jodan block, down and block, kouke. When you do kouke, it's important to put your thumb either on your 4th or your 3rd finger, and depending on where you fit in, sometimes they will say 1 finger for up and another finger for across. All right, but I want you to concentrate not so much on what your finger is doing with your thumb and your finger here, but rather on your wrist, because that's the functional part. All right, try not to let your fingers splay out too much. Try and keep them a little bit in. And I often say to people, imagine you're holding a fan or something that you're using to fan. So this kind of very relaxed, put the thumb here and bring this hand up, and then concentrate there. Okay, so 1. So now there's the block from the elbow, and in this case maybe I'm blocking to push an attack sideways. 1. Okay, I can also push an attack upward. Always like to think of Karate Kid painting the fence. Okay, up, sideways. A little bit more practical, my humble opinion. Chudan level, middle level, open the hands, turn the hands around. Some schools this way, some schools this way. Do as your sensei says. Exact same mechanism, cross the arms and block. You may find that you go out and come back. You may find that you go up and down. Another Chudan block. Cover and hook and over. Gedan block. So you can see I resort to the first thing, open your hands. Bend the wrist. Block with the palm heel. Okay? Some general ideas. Then, combining the blocks. So, double block this way. Okay, I've jumped to Shisochin. Bonus. Saifa. Seiyunchin. Okay, so quite easy to create variation and to work towards getting a better understanding of the blocks. Kazame zuki, jab. So concentrate on rotating the arm and hit and back. It's very different to uraken. Typically not a big movement, a very small movement. A lot of emphasis on your wrist. So when you do uraken, you can do uraken forward, sideways. Then you can do more like what my friends might call ura-uchi, with the full extension of the arm. Maybe you're hitting with the entire back of the hand. Maybe you add a little wrist at the end. Okay, very, very popular in the kumite to hit with the back of the hand, uraken. Okay, so this, Chudan, Gedan, Chudan, a couple of options for training. When you do sideways, always ensure look, hit, hit. And a lot of these we do with impact pad or with makiwara. The next thing, Nukite, knife hand. It makes sense to do knife hand or spear hand eye level, throw it level, groin. Sometimes to the body, yes, but you have to be a serious martial artist. So if you look at typically this movement in Seiyunchin, a lot of people suggest that this hand is going in under the ribs and you're digging. Unless your hands are incredibly tough, most of us will hurt our hands trying to hit somebody in the body. So what my sensei always used to say is, if your hand can't go in as knife hand, then it becomes a fist. So please understand, if the body is incredibly hard and tough and conditioned, your hands have to be equally tough and conditioned so that you can use the technique. And if you wish to maybe have good writing skills or good calligraphy or good drawing, one of the things that you want to make sure that you don't do is break your fingers by hitting and constantly bashing your hands. In my other life, I'm a tradesman, and the hardest time of the year for me are the 6 months that I work in the winter, and my fingers take a pounding. And even with gloves and stuff like that, it becomes really, really painful. Can't do any conditioning because you're constantly dealing with cuts and breaks in the skin. And it's not pleasant. So I would suggest that if you're looking at Nukite, think of soft tissue areas, the groin, the throat, the eyes. Palm strike. So Chudan, palm strike. Some schools teach it with fingers up. Okay, some schools with rotation. Chudan, doesn't make sense to bend this way. Better to do this. And you can have extended or short. Gedan to the center. And the important part is that this is the building blocks for Mawashiuke. It's a critical part of that technique. Right, things that people sometimes neglect are the double punches. So from Geksare Etch, the double punches. And there are a variety of these based on which maybe federation or association you belong to in the Goju world. Maybe this, maybe this, maybe this, maybe this. So do what your sensei says, but the idea of pull back, double punch. Very important for us. Obviously, same thing with double palm strike. Double punch this way. Saifa. All right? So, back, forward, or that way, or with blocking. And that covers pretty much most of our double punches. For my friends who do Shotokan, obviously similar to the movements out of Basadai Kata, elbow. So, high elbow, Chudan. Crescent elbow like Mawashi, round. Elbow coming down. Elbow coming back, which is in nearly any technique. I'm doing Agi-Uke here, but can be elbow and elbow. All right, lifting elbow, like Seiyunchin or Seppai. And then, like jab, is elbow going forward. So often, 1, 2. Let me do this sideways. Crescent, back, forward. Crescent, back, forward. Crescent, back, forward. Forward, down. Forward, down. Forward, down. Elbow strike is very, very important. Combinations with elbow strike, punch, elbow. Punch, elbow. Very important when somebody blocks and they concentrate on your wrist. The most natural thing to do is to keep going forward and to press with the elbow, because if they're blocking on your wrist and they're not controlling your arm, you use the elbow to smash the head. Okay, we have done palm strikes, we've done knife hand strike, we have done elbow strike. Heito. So with Heito, you want to hit with this part of the hand is the weapon, and it's used in a swinging fashion. And for most people, when they watch WWE or WWF, when the person gets clotheslined, it's a similar kind of mentality. So you can be hitting with this part, but the weapon extends onto the forearm, because you could be hitting with the forearm as well, and this could be just reaching around and being used to grab as a secondary attack. So, round and up. So this hand comes back, chamber, this hand round, round. There are schools that teach Heito from behind and round. So from behind and round. There are schools that teach Heito much closer, so nearly like a punch and down. Targets include temples, the side of the neck, the throat, the face. All good. Then Heito coming back onto the neck, up, down, up, down. A very important part of our Saifa kata is the Heito. Right? We can also use this part of that same technique as a block. It's like a Heito uke block. But it's up to interpretation. So, Heito, more practical. Heito, into the groin. 1, 2, 3. Heito, this way. Ribs. Opposite of Heito, sword hand. So it can be up and down 45 degrees. And again, attacking into the neck. Can be like kicks at an itch on a horizontal plane. Straight down. That straight down is our point of departure for hammer fist. So hammer fist forward. Hammer fist like uraken, but sideways. Hammer fist forward, but Gedan. Hammer fist to the body. Again, like Gedan, Barai. If you've been watching, you'll be noticing that I do a lot of this. If you've ever used a hammer, you don't swing a hammer like you swing an axe. And if you've ever used both implements, you'll notice that with the hammer, you tend to have this kind of motion. When you swing an axe, you have this kind of motion. Tends to be the whole arm or limb moving. So with this motion, some of the points to think about for power is to pull the elbow down and to release the hand. Up, pull down, release the hand. So this is what we see in Saifa. Kicks at an itch, release the hand. Gedan Barai, coming Gedan tetsui, hammer fist to the groin. Striking to the body, push forward, release the hand. Okay, so that you can make the movement a little bit smaller and more powerful. A lovely technique to use for impact training on a bag or on a makiwara. So we've covered Heito, we've covered hammer fist, we've covered elbow, we've covered palm strikes, we've covered knife hand, we've covered a lot of things on our hands. We've done a few videos on kicks, so please go back. I'm sure we're going to add a link in towards the kicks. We've covered knee kick and front kick, etc. in previous videos. Ashibarais, sweeping techniques. I think I need to do a video with a partner. If you'd like that idea, let me know. And we will do videos on some of the sweeping kind of techniques and pulling and dragging techniques where we use our legs and our stances to our advantage, where we use the pulling of the foot or the pressing of the knee. So if you'd like us to do a video on that, please comment on it, and then we'll go from there, and I'll make sure that I have a partner to work with, because that's best seen against something real. Hope you're all having a wonderful time. Thank you very much for joining the Goju Ryu Karate Center. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and yeah, we will get back to you. Arigato gozaimasu. Thank you very much.